You're listening to Underground USA News.
Sunday, September 7, 2025. The U.S. War Department is shifting its strategic priorities from countering China to addressing emerging threats in Latin America and the Caribbean, according to a draft national defense strategy. This pivot, which emphasizes domestic and regional missions over global adversaries like Beijing and Moscow, comes as tensions escalate with Venezuela, where the U.S. has deployed significant military assets to combat alleged drug trafficking. Critics argue this move could weaken America's stance against China's growing influence, while supporters see it as a pragmatic response to pressing regional challenges, including cartel-linked money laundering and migration issues. The strategy, if implemented, may strain relations with allies focused on countering China, highlighting a contentious reorientation of U.S. military priorities. Whistleblowers within the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and Health and Human Services have exposed an alleged internal campaign to undermine Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s efforts to reform federal health agencies and curb Big Pharma's influence. Reports indicate that career bureaucrats, fearing the loss of pharmaceutical industry ties, are using tactics from a 1944 CIA sabotage manual to create administrative chaos, delay orders, and foster dissent against Kennedy's Make America Healthy Again initiative. This scandal highlights a broader resistance within federal agencies to prioritize public health over corporate interests, raising concerns about entrenched bureaucratic power. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has accused the Biden administration of prioritizing speed over safety in processing unaccompanied migrant children, resulting in 476,000 minors being lost to tracking after being placed with unvetted sponsors. Kennedy alleges that the rush to release children from detention led to inadequate safety measures, such as skipping DNA testing and fingerprinting, leaving many vulnerable to exploitation, trafficking, and abuse. A Department of Homeland Security report corroborates systemic failures in monitoring, while the Trump administration's efforts have located over 22,000 of these children, with ongoing investigations revealing cases of severe mistreatment. Critics argue this reflects a broader neglect of border security and child welfare under Biden's policies. Hurricane Kiko has escalated into a formidable Category 4 storm, churning toward Hawaii with sustained winds of up to 145 miles per hour, prompting a state of emergency as residents brace for potential impacts next week. As of September 7th, the storm, located approximately 1,205 miles east-southeast of Honolulu, is expected to weaken to a Category 1 or tropical storm before reaching the Big Island and Maui by Tuesday, September 9th, but could still bring life-threatening surf, rip currents, and up to 8 inches of rain to eastern shores. Forecasters warn that even a weakened Kiko could cause significant flooding and damage, particularly if its path shifts closer to the islands. Hawaii's Emergency Management Agency urges residents to prepare now, securing boats and moving valuables to higher ground, as the storm's trajectory remains uncertain but increasingly concerning. This marks the 11th named storm in the Pacific's 2025 season, defying earlier NOAA predictions of a quieter year, and serves as a stark reminder of nature's unpredictability and the need for vigilant preparedness. Tanya Fernandez Anderson, a Boston City councilor and self-described BLM activist with a history of illegal immigration from Cape Verde, was arrested by the FBI on charges of wire fraud and theft related to a federal program. This incident has sparked outrage among conservatives, who argue it exposes the dangers of unchecked progressive ideologies in public office. Anderson, the first Muslim elected to the council, previously drew criticism for proposing a Boston Hijab Day to honor Mahsa Amini, a move many viewed as tone-deaf given Amini's death at the hands of Iran's regime for not wearing a hijab. Critics contend this arrest underscores the need for stricter vetting and accountability for elected officials, particularly those with controversial backgrounds and agendas. The case continues to fuel debates about corruption and ideological extremism in local governance. Despite the 2022 Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization decision overturning Roe versus Wade, U.S. abortion numbers have risen, driven largely by the expansion of telehealth and medication abortions. According to the Society of Family Planning, virtual-only appointments have surged, enabling women in states with restrictive laws to access abortion pills through mail-order services, often facilitated by shield laws in states like California and New York. This has led to an estimated 95,200 abortions per month in 2024, surpassing pre-Dobbs levels, with notable increases in states bordering those with bans, such as New Mexico and Illinois. Critics argue this undermines state sovereignty and pro-life protections, as unregulated telehealth abortions raise concerns about safety and accountability, with some studies noting a 10.9% adverse event rate for chemical abortions. The data suggests a complex landscape where technology enables access despite legal restrictions, challenging conservative efforts to curb abortion post-Dobbs. Homeland Security ministers from the Five Eyes Alliance, comprising the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, are set to unveil new initiatives to combat people smuggling and bolster border security, as announced by British Interior Minister Shabana Mahmood. The measures aim to disrupt criminal networks exploiting vulnerable migrants, reflecting a commitment to national sovereignty and public safety. This collaborative effort underscores the alliance's long-standing intelligence-sharing framework, rooted in the 1946 UK-USA Agreement, and comes amid growing concerns over illegal migration and organized crime. While the specifics of the initiatives remain undisclosed, the focus on tightening border controls aligns with conservative priorities of prioritizing law enforcement and national security over unchecked immigration. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba announced his resignation on September 7, following significant electoral defeats for his Liberal Democratic Party in both houses of parliament, reflecting widespread voter frustration with rising living costs and economic challenges. Ishiba, who took office in October 2024, faced mounting pressure from within his party after the LDP and its coalition partner Komeito lost their upper house majority in July, securing only 47 of the needed 50 seats as support shifted to far-right nationalist parties. His administration struggles with inflation, a rice shortage, and a political finance scandal, coupled with a trade deal with the U.S. to mitigate tariffs, failed to restore public confidence. Ishiba's exit, timed after finalizing a $550 billion investment deal with the U.S., aims to prevent a deeper party split, with a leadership election now looming to determine Japan's next prime minister. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky declined an invitation from Russian President Vladimir Putin to meet in Moscow, labeling Russia a terrorist state amid ongoing missile attacks and territorial losses in Ukraine. Putin offered security guarantees for the talks, but Zelensky countered that Putin should come to Kiev, a proposal deemed impractical due to Kremlin security concerns. This exchange highlights the deepening stalemate in peace negotiations, with Zelensky's refusal reflecting Ukraine's precarious position as Russian forces advance and U.S. support wanes under the Trump administration's push for a swift resolution. The ongoing conflict, now in its fourth year, shows no sign of abating as both leaders remain entrenched, with Zelensky facing domestic pressure and Putin leveraging battlefield gains to dictate terms. After months of persistent protests by Eping residents, the UK government has agreed to close the Bell Hotel, a facility housing asylum seekers, marking a significant victory for local citizens frustrated by unchecked immigration policies. The demonstrations, sparked by a migrant's alleged sexual assault on a 14-year-old girl, underscored growing public discontent with the Labour government's handling of the migrant crisis. With over 32,000 asylum seekers housed in hotels nationwide as of June 2025, the High Court's ruling to block further asylum placements at the Bell Hotel, driven by Eping Forest District Council's legal challenge, signals a potential turning point in addressing community safety and the strain of mass migration. Critics argue that such closures must be part of a broader strategy to curb illegal immigration, while the government insists on an orderly approach to avoid displacing issues to other communities.
You're listening to Underground USA News.